Revelation 12 by WhyAlive.com. To start off, this is not a video stating when Yeshua Jesus is coming back. And this is not a time to fear, as perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:18. This is a time to rejoice and prepare. Turn to the way journey of Jehovah, the Lord, make straight right the course, highway for our God, Elohim. Isaiah 40:3. This is a time to walk in the Spirit in our relationship with the Lord and each other, being holy as He is holy, to walk with Him more intimately each moment. Second, I understand much of what the stars, planets, or constellations represent is mostly debatable, but there are ancient stories and myths associated with them. I do believe the Lord placed the sun, moon, and stars in the sky for signs and for seasons, as Genesis 1:14 states, which means they have a purpose. In this video, we are interested in the overall perceived view that has been held for centuries of what a planet or constellation represents, which may or may not be its true identification as originally intended. Revelation 12:1-2 states, "A great sign appeared in the heaven, a woman dressed with the sun and the moon under the legs of her, and against the head of her, a crown of 12 stars, and having a child in the womb, and cries out, suffering birth pains, and being tormented to give birth." In 1928, the International Astronomical Union, or IAU, established 88 constellations with their borders, based on the 48 northern constellations Claudius Ptolemy recorded around 150 AD, that was based off the work of Hipparchus. That based his work off Babylon, which based their info on more historical info which can be shown, but this is not the video for that. There are 13 constellations the sun goes through in a year that could be dressed with the sun. There is only one of those 13 constellations that is of a woman laying on her back looking like she is going to give birth. That is the constellation Virgo, which we will call the woman constellation. The Greek word for feet used in Revelation 12:1 can also be legs. From the IAU image of the woman constellation, we can see where the moon needs to be in order to be under the legs of the woman who is laying down to give birth. The woman constellation is dressed with the sun and has the moon under her legs once a year, every year in the fall. On the first day of the 8th biblical month, or on the first day of the 7th biblical month of Ha'ethunim, also called Tishri. The first day of the 7th biblical month is also called Yom Teruah, Day of Trumpet Blast, or Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, as it is one of the Lord's holidays and the biblical New Year for the year, sometimes called the Civil New Year, and is the day Adam and mankind were created. Against the head of the woman constellation is the constellation Leo, or Lion. The common modern norm is that the Lion constellation is made up of 9 stars visible to the naked eye, as defined in Wikipedia's article on the constellation. So, for the Revelation 12:1 event to occur in the heavens, 3 planets need to join with the Lion constellation, or near the head of the woman constellation, on the first day of the 7th or 8th biblical month. This event occurred on 9/22/2017 AD, on the first day of the 7th biblical month, and many other times in history. It is not a rare event. 10/19/2028 could be seen as fulfilling the event. 9/29/2030 can work. 9/11/3 BC, 9/12 BC, 954 AD, and so on can all work, including 9/22/2017. With the woman being pregnant, we need a planet in the womb of the woman constellation at the same time. This is more rare, especially if we are going to say the 3 planets have to be in the Lion constellation and not in the head of the woman constellation, because the woman with the moon under her legs is crowned with the lion, which will make more sense later. This still occurs several times in the 2,000+ years since Yeshua's birth, but Revelation 12:5 states, "And she gave birth to a male son, who is about to shepherd, rule all the nations with a rod, staff, scepter of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne." On 9/22/2017, the 5th and largest planet known as the King Star since ancient times, and now called the King Planet, appeared in the belly of the woman constellation to match up with this ruler, who is born to rule. Since the 5th planet is the only planet that fits this position, how often does this event happen? Since the birth of Yeshua, The event occurred on 9/12/356 AD, and again in 8/28/439, then in 9/4/1293, and finally on 9/22/2017. So this event is somewhat rare, with it occurring 4 times in 2,000 plus years. But as we continue, the dates of 356, 439, and 1293 also do not line up with all the events of Revelation 12. Though Revelation 12, 1-2 can be an event that starts on 9/22/2017 and continues through the verses, as this video will show, Revelation 12:1 also leads us back to the dream of Joseph in Genesis 37:9. In Psalm 19:4-5, the Son is represented as the groom, Yeshua, coming out of his huppah marriage canopy. Psalm 84:11 likens the Son to the Lord. Psalm 89:36 makes Yeshua's throne to be like the sun. John 8:12 and 9:5 states, Yeshua is the light of the world. Matthew 4:16 points to Yeshua as being a great light, the same title for the sun and the moon in Genesis 1:16. And Malachi 4:2 is using the sun in place of Yeshua, the Son of Righteousness. If God is light, then that light being born into the physical form of the sun would be like and represent the Lord being born as the man of Yeshua. Yeshua was born of a Jewish virgin of Israel. And Jeremiah 31:31 states, the new covenant is with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, of which the Gentiles are grafted, adopted into. All believers in Yeshua are a part of the house, family of Israel, that is the church that is called the bride of Yeshua. Yeshua in the flesh was born from Israel. Just as believers put on the light of Yeshua, the woman with a crown of a lion of the 12 stars in Revelation 12, that is Israel, is clothed with the sun that represents Yeshua. Revelation 12, 3-6 states, And was seen another sign in the heaven, and behold, a great large red fire-colored dragon, serpent, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon the heads of him. And the tail of him drags the third of the stars of heaven, and he casts, throws, places them into the earth. And the dragon serpent stands in the presence of before, the woman being about to give birth, so that when she should give birth, he might devour, eat the child of her. And she gave birth to a male son who is about to shepherd, rule all the nations with a rod, staff, scepter of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne seat. And the woman fled, escaped into the solitary, desolate wilderness, where she has there a place, opportunity, having been prepared from God, so that there they should feed, nourish, provide for her 1,260 days. The woman can also represent Mary, from whom Yeshua was born from. As the promise to Abraham was for his descendants to be as many as the grains of sand, those born on earth, and as many as the stars of the heavens, those born of the Spirit into heaven, the stars of heaven can represent believers. So Revelation 12, 3-6 can represent Herod wearing red, common with Roman royalty, as the red dragon who kills the third part of the family, the children. The dad equaling 1, the mom equaling 2, and the child being the third, casting them into the earth, that because of their age would go to heaven through the Lord's mercy in Yeshua, while the woman, Mary, flees into the wilderness, Egypt, for 1,260 days, 3.5 years until Herod dies, and this 3.5 years matches the Coptic Christian tradition. But the earlier star planet events that would go with this event do not completely match Revelation 12. We could go with the woman being Israel, the bride-wife church. The Pope who wears red could then be looked at as the red dragon. From the numbers in the article listed in the references at the end of this video, the Pope could have killed 1/3 of the believers during the reign of the popes that lasted 1,260 years, from 329 of 537 AD to 210 of 1798 AD. How is the 1,260 years figured for the reign of the popes? Belisarius defeated Rome for Justinian of the Roman Byzantine Empire on 12/9 of 536 AD and removed Pope Silverius from power in the 3rd Roman month of 537 AD, and then put him to death on 12/2 of 537 AD. Pope Vigilius is then made pope in the 12th Hebrew month of Adar on 3/29 of 537 AD to become the first pope under the laws of Justinian, Code of Justinian, that were established in 533 AD, that gave authority to the Pope King of the Roman Church Kingdom to reign and persecute Christians. The Roman Church Kingdom was defeated in the 11th Hebrew month of Shavat on 2/10 of 1798, and Pope Pius VI was removed completely by Berthier for Napoleon, with the Pope dying on 8/29 of 1799 AD, and not to be replaced by order of Napoleon, who is part of the first seal of Revelation. That means the Roman Church Kingdom ruled for about 1,260 years and 11 months. Figured exclusively with only full complete years, this is 1,260 years. But this explanation also would use the earlier star-planet events that do not completely match Revelation 12. 9/22/2017 is the only time in history the stars and planets line up with Revelation 12:1-6, as will be explained. If we are going to say Revelation 12:1-2 appeared in heaven, like is stated in the scripture, then Revelation 12:3-9 has to appear in heaven as well. It is not until Revelation 12:10 that the signs in heaven seem to end. So, let's begin. The red in Revelation 12:3 really just means fire, like, so can be any color of fire, which is what stars shine with, fire. The word for dragon in verse 3 can be a fabulous kind of serpent. Another name for a multi-headed dragon serpent is Leviathan, as Psalm 74:13 states heads of Leviathan. And still another name for the multi-headed serpent is Hydra. The Hydra constellation is the largest constellation, and from head to tail is about 7 hours long out of the 24 hours of the ecliptic, or 100 degrees long out of the 360 degrees of the ecliptic. This alone is about 1/3 of the ecliptic, the circle of the sky. The head of the Hydra constellation contains 7 stars as circled in red, giving us a 7-headed serpent, as Revelation 12:3 states. The declination, height of the Hydra constellation, is 6.6 degrees north to 35.7 degrees south. This means from Jerusalem, that is at a latitude of about 32 degrees, Hydra's head reaches up to 64.6 degrees, with the 7 stars of the 7 heads of the Hydra above the 60 degrees above the horizon, with the body reaching 60 degrees of the 180-degree horizon to opposite horizon. 60 divided by 180 equals 1/3. So we have a constellation Hydra, of a great large multi-headed dragon serpent dragging 1/3 of the stars of heaven as the constellation moves across the sky and casting the stars into the earth as the constellation then moves below the earth's horizon. The Hydra constellation is also established, standing next to the woman as stated in Revelation 12:4. The crown to the Hydra's head is formed by 2 constellations, the constellation of the Crab, Cancer, and Lesser Dog, Canis Minor. From the IAU picture shown here, only 5 stars make up the image of the Crab, and 2 stars form the Lesser Dog constellation. Together, these 7 stars form the 7 diadem, crowns, to the 7 heads of the Hydra. To form 10 horns projections from the 7 heads of the Hydra, we are going to need 3 more stars, planets. At the time Revelation was written, there was considered 7 wandering stars visible to the naked eye. The sun and the moon were included with the 5 visible actual planets we recognize in our time. The IAU now classifies the moon as the Earth's satellite and not a wandering star, while the sun is a star that wanders, and the planets are still called wandering stars. As the sun can take several hours crossing the border of 2 constellations, when do you establish that the sun has entered or left a constellation? Scripture states a person should be hot or cold, not lukewarm or in the middle. We are either with Yeshua or against him. So a wandering star needs to be totally in the constellation to be counted as being in the constellation. On 7/21 to 7/22 of 2019, the 17th and 18th day of the 4th Hebrew month of Tammuz, the 1st and 2nd day of the Jewish 3-week fast that starts with Shiva Asar B Tammuz, the sun and 1st and 4th planets come into the Crab constellation to form the 10 horns of the 7-headed Hydra. Then for 5 days during the 3-week fast from 7/26 to 7/30 of 2019, the sun and 2nd and 4th planets come into the Crab to form the 10 horns. Finally, For 3 days from 8/9 to 8/11 of 2019, the Sun and first and second planets come into the Crab constellation to form the 10 horns, with 8/11 being the last day of the 3-week fast, called Tisha B'Av, in the 5th biblical month. So for 10 days of the 22-day fast, starting on the first day and ending on the last day of the 3-week fast, the 10 horns are formed for the 7-headed Hydra. The 3-week fast is the time of year Israel and Aaron made a golden calf, they called the Lord, to worship at Mount Sinai after the Exodus, and Moses broke the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, and many other bad events occurred on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, such as the spies giving a bad report, both the first and second temples being destroyed, the 1290 AD banishment of Jews from England, and the 1492 AD banishment of Jews from Spain. So this is a perfect time to represent the serpent dragon representing Satan. On 7/21 to 8/11 of 2019, the Hydra constellation, as seen from Jerusalem, is in the sky only for a short time before going below the Earth's horizon. Something to note, the Moon is about 238,854 miles away from the Earth. And on 7/25/2019, the rare event occurred of the almost undetected asteroid 2019 OK passing within 43,000 miles of Earth, whose impact with the Earth would have destroyed a large city. The child that was born from the woman, the 5th planet, was carried, pulled, caught up to God and his throne seat in Revelation 12:5. Is there a constellation on the ecliptic that would represent God and the throne seat of God in the stars of heaven? When doing a search online, the serpent bearer Ophiuchus is the only constellation identified as a god. The 5th planet goes through the image of this constellation at 9 to 10:30 p.m. on 10/30/2019 on a Rosh Chodesh new moon of the first day of the 8th biblical month. The bull constellation better represents God the Father, whom the Son would be caught up to. See Aleph at WhyAlive.com. The 5th planet enters the bull constellation on 4/28 of 2024, the 6th day of Hog Hamatzot, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, on the 20th day of the 1st month of Ha'aviv Nisan. The 5th planet comes into the image of the bull between the horns on 7/14/2024, in time for the 3-week Jewish fast of the 4th and 5th months, and leaves the bull constellation on 6/12 of 2025, a few days after Shavuot, Pentecost. It was on the 3rd day of Hog Hamatzot, Feast of Unleavened Bread, that Yeshua arose on the first day of the week to the Father, and Yeshua had already been caught up to the Father on the 40th day after his resurrection, 10 days before Shavuot Pentecost. The constellations of the Ram, Aries and Archer, Sagittarius, also come up as possible candidates for God in an online search, though they are treated like secondary candidates. The biggest point here is not exactly which constellation represents God, but that the 5th planet traveled through a constellation representing God before traveling to the throne seat of God, just as Revelation 12:5 states is the order of events. The constellation of Crab Cancer was called the seat of God by the Babylonians, especially at the Beehive cluster, highlighted with the yellow circle. The 5th planet does not enter the Crab constellation until 6/22 of 2026, 12 days before the 3-week fast of the 4th and 5th months, and reaches the same right ascension as the Beehive cluster on 8/4 of 2026, 12 days after the 3-week fast of the 4th and 5th months. It is interesting to note Yom Teruah, Day of Trumpet Blast, occurs while the 5th planet is still in the Crab constellation. This is interesting because of the verses of Daniel 12:11-12 that state this day is the beginning of the 1335th year of Daniel, see reference. Then the 5th planet is in the Crab constellation on Yom Kippurim, Day of Atonements, on the 10th day of the 7th month of Ha'ethunim Tishri, on 9/22/2026, and leaves the Crab constellation and enters the Lion constellation on 9/23/2026. Yom Kippurim, Day of Atonements, was the only day of the year the high priest could enter into the Holy of Holies, before the throne of God, the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. If the moon is not seen until 9/13/2026 due to cloud cover, making the Rosh Chodesh new moon on 9/14, Yom Kippurim could be on 9/23/2026, which would fit even better with the fifth planet being in and leaving the Crab constellation on 9/23. The fifth planet and all its moons does re-enter the Crab constellation at about 5:30 a.m. on 3/19/2027 on the 10th day of the first month, WhyAlive, Nisan, when the Pesach, Passover lamb, is to be brought into the home, and when Yeshua entered Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. Then, the fifth planet leaves the Crab constellation and enters the Lion constellation on 5/11/2027, just in time for Shavuot, Pentecost, at sunset on 5/12/2027. The next verse is Revelation 12:6, with the woman in the wilderness being nourished for 1,260 days. What is the 1,260 days? If you have 30-day months, 1,260 days would be 42 months. If there are 12 months to a year, 42 months would be 3.5 years. So 1,260 days is representing a 3.5-year time period, or half a 7-year time period. A lunar year sometimes has 13 months in order to catch up with the solar year. If we add a 30-day leap month to 1,260, we get 1,290 days, which can also represent a 3.5-year time period, as is found in Daniel 12:11. If we have every lunar year have 13 months, 3 years would be 1,170 days. Then if we add to the 1,170 days a half year, of 5.5 months of 30 days, we get 1,335 days, can represent a 3.5-year time period. 1,335 days is what we find in Daniel 12:12. Sometimes the Bible will state a time, times, and half a time, as in Daniel 12:6 or Revelation 12:14. The time is 1, times is 2, and half a time is 1/2. Together, this is once again a time period of 3.5. So 1,260 days, 1,290 days, 1,335 days, 42 months, and time, times, and half a time are all used to represent a time period of 3.5. Since the Woman constellation has the crown of the Lion constellation, the two constellations can be seen as being together. Starting on 1:11 a.m. on 6/29/2026, 3 days before the Jewish 3-week fast of the 4th and 5th months, there is a wandering star within the Lion constellation and or Woman constellation until 5:10 a.m. on 10/31/2029, as though the wandering stars are taking care of the woman. That is 1,020 days and 4 hours the wandering stars are with the woman, and then they are not. No wandering star enters the woman or lion again until 259 days later on 7/18/2030, and no wandering star is in those constellations for 228 days before the beginning of the 1,220 days on 6/29/2026. A day, though, can be just the 12 hours of daylight. The starting time of 1:11 a.m. is in the middle of the night, so just counting the days of daylight, 6/29/2026 would be the first day. The 1,220th day would be 10/30/2029. On 10/31/2029, the sunrise will be at 5:54 a.m. The wandering stars leave the Woman constellation 43 minutes before the sunrise of 10/31/2029. So, the Woman constellation is accompanied by wandering stars for exactly 1,220 days. The beginning of the 1,220 days started around the 3-week Jewish fast. The 3-week fast is the same time of year the spies of Israel were sent into the promised land of Canaan and came back and gave a bad report on the last day of those 3 weeks, called Tisha B'Av, and all of Israel was sent into the wilderness for 40 years. For each of the 40 days the spies spied out the land of Canaan. The 1,220 days ends with the conjunction of the 5th planet that was born from the woman, with the 1st planet representing a messenger god. The Lord the Spirit descended like a messenger from the Father, delivering the baptism of the Spirit upon Yeshua with a message delivered to mankind. So at the end of the 1,220 days, the conjunction of the 1st and 5th planets is also in conjunction with the sun, as though the 5th planet is being clothed with the sun by the messenger god. At this point, Yeshua was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil and fast for 40 days. After Moses entered the wilderness, he fasted for 40 days. 1,260 days minus the 40 days, the woman of Revelation 12 was in the wilderness. Fasting with no wandering stars to tend to her needs equals 1,220 days. If we add the 40 days to the end of the 1,220 days, then the 1,260 days would end on 12/9/2029, the 8th day of Hanukkah. If we start the 1,260 days when the 5th planet entered the Crab constellation on 6/22/2026, then the 1,260 days would end on 12/2/2029 on the 1st day of Hanukkah. But it makes more sense to start the 40-day count after the conjunction of the 1st and 5th planets and Sun, representing Yeshua's baptism, and then the 1st day of the 40-day fast, when Yeshua was tempted by the devil, would be 10/31/2029 on the day of Halloween. The end of the 40-day fast is then on Hanukkah, which is a holiday celebrating the victory of Israel over her enemies, including Antiochus IV Epiphanes, who represents an antichrist devil figure. On Hanukkah, they also recovered Jerusalem and the Second Temple, and cleansed the temple. This brings up another possible representation for Revelation 12. The woman could be represented by Eve. Both Adam and Eve were made and married on the 6th day of creation, on Yom Teruah, day of trumpet blast, and clothed with the light of the Lord. As they were married on Yom Teruah, Eve could have become pregnant on this day. Her descendants would become Israel, and Genesis 3:15 states her seed would defeat the seed of the serpent. All through history, from the beginning when the serpent was standing next to the woman of Eve, the serpent Satan has been trying to kill Israel, the children of Eve. The serpent has done this killing through his 7 heads, kingdoms of Egypt being 1, Assyria being 2, Babylon being 3, Medo-Persia being 4, Greece being 5. The 5 fallen kingdoms at the time the book of Revelation was written, as stated in Revelation 17:9-10. Rome being 6, who is at the time Revelation was written, and the Roman Church kingdom being 7, ruled by the popes, see reference. In this representation, the child caught up to God, and his throne can be represented with Israel, who was brought to God and his throne at Mount Sinai, and who Yeshua would be born from through their descendants. Israel then goes into the wilderness for 40 years at the time of Tisha B'Av. So what is 1,220 years later? If we use the date of the Exodus of 1464 BC, that is not just aligned to one verse of Scripture, but aligned to the 5+ scriptures given for the date of the Exodus, then 1,260 years brings us to the time of 205 or 204 BC, or the time of Antiochus III. If we use another representation of the 3.5 time period of 1,290, instead of 1,260, we come exactly to the year 175 BC, if including all years in the count. This is the year Antiochus IV Epiphanes started his reign over Israel, leading to Hanukkah. So we have an exact representation of history in heaven, with the stars, planets, and constellations. For the next part, it does not really matter if we start with 12/2 or 12/9. The only difference is the first planet is closer to the Earth's horizon on 12/2, and on 12/9, the first planet is closer to the second and fourth planets. Now for the last 3 verses of Revelation 12:7-9. Revelation 12:7-9 states, "And there was war, battle in the heaven, Michael and the angels, messengers of him battled, warred, fought with, against, behind the dragon serpent, and the serpent dragon battled, warred, fought, and even the angels, messengers of him. And he had no strength, nor was a place opportunity found for them in the heaven any more. And was cast, thrown, the serpent dragon, the great large original ancient serpent dragon, who is called Slanderer, Devil, and the Adversary, Satan, the one leading astray, deceiving the whole entire inhabited world. He was cast, thrown into the earth, and the angels, messengers of him, behind with him, were cast, thrown, down." David Warner Matheson says the angel Michael is represented by the constellation of the serpent bearer, Ophiuchus. Doing an online search brings up Michael as represented by the sun, but I am not finding a clear reference where this idea came from. It is interesting that on 12/2 to 12/9 of 2029, the sun is in the serpent bearer constellation. The serpent-bearer constellation is described as an image of a man grasping a serpent. The constellation of the serpent head, Serpens Caput, is to the right of the serpent-bearer constellation, and the constellation of the serpent tail, Serpens Cauda, is to the left of the serpent-bearer constellation. It was suggested already that the serpent-bearer constellation is representing God. These three constellations together are like a war of the Lord against the serpent. Notice, Revelation 12:9 states, the original ancient serpent dragon. The tail of the original serpent, the Hydra constellation, lines up directly with the serpent tail constellation, as though the serpent tail constellation could be the same serpent as the Hydra constellation, of which the serpent bearer has a hold of. The seven-headed Hydra constellation would then have an eighth head, if including the serpent head constellation as joined together with the Hydra constellation. According to Genesis 3:1 and 3:14, a serpent is a beast. Revelation 13:1 has a seven-headed, 10-horned beast working with the serpent dragon. In Revelation 17:3, we see a woman sitting on a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, with Revelation 17:11 stating this beast is an eighth head and is part of the 7 heads. The IAU image of the serpent head constellation has 7 main stars making up the head image and 3 less bright stars that are not part of the image but are close to the image of the head. So, the serpent head constellation could be explained as a 7-headed serpent beast with 10 horns that is an eighth head to the Hydra constellation. Also notice, the Greek word for with can be behind. Michael and his angels are behind the serpent, as well as the serpent's angels. It will be shown next that Michael and his angels are to the right of the serpent, with the bad angels to the left of the serpent. So how can both be behind the serpent? On 12/9/2029 in Jerusalem, the serpent tail constellation is all that is seen above the horizon by the time the sun sets. The bad angels are to the left and east of the tail of the serpent, so they are behind the serpent. West in Hebrew also means behind. Without the horizon, Michael is seen along the equator of the celestial sphere to the right and west of the serpent tail, and Michael's angels are to the right and west of the serpent head. So Michael and his angels are also behind, west of the serpent. Words written with Hebrew are read from right to left, just as the earth turns from the right west to the left east, if from Israel you are facing the sun toward the south, or just as the blood in your body is pumped from the right side of your heart to the left side. On 12/9/2029, the sun is right under the serpent bearer. To the right of the sun and the serpent head is the 5th planet in the constellation of the scales Libra of judgment, and to the very far right, in front of even the Hydra head, is the 6th planet in the constellation of the ram Aries. How do we know it is the very far right? Notice the IAU markings at the top of the ram constellation, called the right ascension, west to east markings along the equator of the celestial sphere. The hour markers move from 1 hour on the right to the ram constellation at the 2 to 3 hour marker going left. Now notice the 5th planet in the scales of judgment constellation is at the 15-hour marker. The serpent head constellation is at the 16-hour marker, and the serpent bearer constellation is close to the 17-hour marker. Then the serpent tail constellation is close to the 18th and 19th hour markers, and the 1st, 2nd, and 4th bad planets are close to the 19th and 20th hour markers. Under and to the left of the serpent bearer, and directly left of the sun but under the serpent tail, is the 1st, 2nd, and 4th bad planets, 3 planets in total, in the constellation of the Archer Sagittarius. According to the Bible, Yeshua is at the right hand of God in heaven. When reading Revelation 12:7, we start with Michael, the sun, and his angels, the 5th and 6th good planets, that are to the right, and move to the serpent dragon that is to their left, and finish with the serpent's angels, the 1st, 2nd, and 4th bad planets in Archer to the farthest left. Another verse that comes to mind here is Revelation 12:4. Instead of the stars representing believers, the stars can represent the angels, as Revelation 1:20 states the 7 stars are angels. Revelation 12:4 states, the serpent's tail drags away 1/3 of the stars, and there are 3 planet stars under the serpent tail on 12/9/2029. If we add the Earth's horizon to the picture, on 12/9/2029, starting at the beginning of the Jewish day at sunset and the beginning of the Revelation 12:7-9 event. As the sun sets in Jerusalem, the first, second, and fourth bad planets appear in the Archer constellation, as in a warrior with bow and arrow, which is next to the constellation of the shield, Scutum, and next to the serpent tail, Satan, in this event of Revelation 12:9. It appears like the serpent is being thrown down into the earth with just the serpent's tail showing, just as Revelation 12:9 states in the beginning. At the same time at sunset on 12/9/2029 in Jerusalem, the sixth good planet is in the sky to the east, in the constellation of the Ram being like the Lamb of God, Yeshua. Over the next few days, the first, second, and fourth bad planets appear to be advancing forward up into the night sky toward the sixth good planet, standing in the Ram constellation, until 12/16/2029, on Asara B Tevet, the fast of the 10th day of the 10th Hebrew month, when the second bad planet starts to be cast down toward the horizon, and on 12/22/29, the first bad planet starts to retreat, while the fourth bad planet marches forward. Then on 1/12/2030, the serpent tail is cast down under the Earth's horizon. The sixth good planet on 1/25/30 then starts to move back a little, as the fourth bad planet is 2 constellations away in the water-bearer, Aquarius constellation. At the beginning of Tanit Esther, the fast of Esther, the first bad planet on 3/17/30 at sunset moves above the Earth's horizon. The fifth good planet in the scales of judgment is slightly retreating the whole time until 3/20/30 on Purim, on the 15th day of the 13th month, when he marches forward as he remains in the scales constellation during the whole war event. The first bad planet catches up with the fourth bad planet on 3/25/30. The sixth good planet keeps moving back out of the Ram constellation until on 4/9/30 he moves into the Bull constellation, like with the Father, while the first and fourth bad planets have moved into the Ram constellation. Then at sunset on 4/13/30, on the 10th day of the first biblical month of WhyAlive, when the Passover lamb is to be brought into the home, the first bad planet retreats to be cast down at sunset on 4/17/30 on the 14th day of the first month of WhyAlive on Passover, the day when Yeshua died on the cross and defeated all his enemies. If the horizon is not very flat, the fourth bad planet is cast down into the Earth's horizon also on 4/17/30, but with a flat horizon, the fourth bad planet appears to be cast down into the Earth's horizon by 4/21/30 on the 17th day of the first month of WhyAlive, on the first day of the week on Yom HaBikarim, the day of first fruits. The Pesach Passover of 2030 AD aligns exactly the same with the days of the week, as when Yeshua died on Pesach Passover and arose on Yom HaBikurim, day of first fruits, in 30 AD. This whole event happens just as Revelation 12:9 reads, that the devil was cast down first, and then his angels, planet stars, were cast down. Each night, just as the sixth good planet goes under the horizon, the fifth good planet rises above the horizon with the sun, Michael, following soon after. So, the good guys, the fifth and sixth planets and the sun, are always in the sky as they win the day. If we take away the horizon, the sun, Michael, appears to be chasing after the first, second, and fourth bad planets, taking them out one by one. The second bad planet surrenders on 1/6/30, the first day of the 11th month, a Rosh Chodesh new moon. Then, the first bad planet is defeated on 4/23/30 during the Hog Hamatzot, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And finally, the fourth bad planet is defeated on 5/25/30, with the conjunction of the Sun and the fourth planet, which is 3 days before the 40th day after Yom HaBikurim, the day of first fruits, when Yeshua arose into the heavens. I would stop at Revelation 12:9, but Revelation 12:10 sounds like the day of Shavuot, Pentecost, which is the next of the Lord's holidays after the events that have already been stated. If you have read the seals, trumpets, and bowls of Revelation, then you might be asking, where are we at on the timeline? Revelation 12 is listed after the seventh trumpet, but there is not an event that aligns with the seventh trumpet or the finishing of the sixth trumpet at the time this video was being produced. So it seems Revelation 12 goes back in time and catches up with the future moving forward through the next chapters. There may be a follow-up video later. But for now, fear, revere God, and give him glory, honor, because the hour season has come of the judgment of him, and worship, kneel to the one having made the heaven and the earth and sea and fountains, springs of waters, Revelation 14:7. Praise, glory, and honor be to Yeshua, the name above all names, the King of kings and Lord of lords. Amen and amen.